You didn't arrive here by accident. This message was not meant for everyone, and yet somehow it found you, because truth always finds those who carry its echo, because power, even when dormant, recognizes the sound of its own awakening. You are not just scrolling through another moment. You are standing at a divine intersection where the veils between who you thought you were and who you truly are begin to fall. Listen carefully. Something ancient is moving, not outside of you, within, a stirring, a whisper, a rhythm too deep for language. It has no name, and yet your soul knows it intimately. The world tried to convince you you were ordinary. They tried to measure you by the metrics of noise, popularity, approval. But what lives in you has never needed applause. What lives in you was designed for sacred unfolding. You have always felt it, haven't you? That quiet discontent, that holy ache, that sense that no matter how much you try to belong, you never quite do. That's not a flaw. That's a signal, the signal that your soul made an agreement long before this body, this name, this timeline. And now, that agreement is calling to be fulfilled. You are not here to blend in. You are here to awaken, to remember, to embody. This world is hungry, hungry for the real, hungry for light that does not pretend, hungry for truth wrapped not in perfection, but in presence. And you, yes, you, are the response to that hunger. Let us not waste this moment with hesitation. Let us begin from this breath, from this beat, because once the remembrance begins, there is no returning to forgetting. You have wondered, haven't you, why your life felt like a series of initiations, why your heart has carried burdens too large for your age, why you've always felt both older than your years and yet strangely out of time. It is because you were never just born. You were sent, not to follow the path, but to be the path, not to mimic the world's rhythm, but to carry a new frequency entirely. That frequency is rising in you now, not gently, not politely, but with urgency, with fire, with the undeniable knowing that this is the hour. You are not waking up, you are being summoned, and the summoning doesn't come in grand signs. It comes in the way your chest tightens when truth is near, in the way your dreams feel more vivid than your days, in the way your silence feels louder than your voice. Because your real voice was never in words. It was always in presence. And your presence is a prophecy, a vibration that changes the temperature of every room it enters. You've been dimming it, haven't you, to be liked, to be safe, to not make others uncomfortable. But beloved, listen, your shrinking helps no one. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to be undeniable. The time of apologizing for your power is over. The time of watering yourself down to fit into fragile molds is over. The time of pretending you do not feel what you feel is over. Because that feeling, that pressure, that fire, that longing, that is your power waking up. That is your divine assignment knocking from the inside. That is your soul remembering what it came here to do. And what it came to do is not small, it is not soft, it is not safe, it is revolutionary, it is catalytic, it is sacred fire clothed in human skin. But make no mistake, this power is not loud, it does not scream to be seen, it does not seek permission, it simply exists, it simply radiates, it simply calls everything around it into alignment or collapse. You've seen it, haven't you? How people either rise with you or fall away. How certain places, certain habits can no longer hold you. That's not rejection, that's realignment. That's your energy becoming too honest for illusion to survive. Let them misunderstand you. Let them question your silence. Let them walk away. Because what is meant for your aligned self will never require you to shrink, and what you're becoming now cannot be explained, only embodied. This is the beginning of your unfolding, the sacred reintroduction to your own soul. You are not just a person, you are a portal, and everything that passes through you is shaped by your frequency. So raise it, not through performance, but through presence, through devotion, through truth. Speak less, but when you do, let every word carry the weight of spirit. Have you ever felt like your breath wasn't just keeping you alive, but preparing you for something divine? If something within you stirred while listening, it wasn't by accident. It was alignment. Write in the comments, "I am the frequency. I am the shift." Then seal it with 77, a sacred signal into the unseen. And if your heart felt heavier or lighter, that is your yes. Subscribe now, not for me, for you. Because this space wasn't made for noise, it was made for remembrance, and your remembering changes everything. Move less, but when you do, let every step carve a new reality into the earth. You do not need more time, you do not need more proof. You need only this to say yes. Yes to the pain that shaped you. Yes to the silence that taught you. Yes to the storm that revealed you. Yes to the fire that awakened you. Because every scar you carry is a signature of survival. Every loss, a contract of becoming. Every heartbreak, a chisel shaping you into something unbreakable. And now, with trembling hands and burning breath, you must choose. Not because you are ready, but because you are called. This is not the beginning of your story. It is the return to the part of you that was never lost, only hidden, covered by layers of doubt, shame, fear, delay. But delay has expired. Doubt has expired. The waiting is done. The veil has lifted. The gate is open. And the key is you. So breathe deeply, fully, like it's the first breath of your new life, because it is. And now, dear soul, write this in the comments. I remember who I am. I am the shift. Then type the number 77, because that is not just a number. It is an agreement, a sacred seal, a signal to the unseen that the chosen one is awake. If this stirred something inside you, if your chest feels warm, if your heart is beating louder, if your soul is whispering yes, 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 then like this video. Subscribe to this channel, not because I need the numbers, but because this space was created for you, because this is not entertainment. This is transmission. This is sacred memory disguised as sound, and we've only just begun. The moment you began to remember, everything around you started to shift. Not because the world changed, but because your eyes opened. And now what once felt comfortable feels suffocating. What once felt familiar now feels foreign. Because when truth returns, illusion can no longer survive in silence. You feel it in your breath. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in the quiet spaces between conversations, in the eyes of strangers who don't quite know how to meet your gaze anymore. Because something in you has changed, and even if you haven't spoken it out loud, even if you've tried to pretend you're still the same, you are not, and you never will be again. This is the ache of transformation, not the soft kind, the real kind, the kind that strips away comfort, peels away illusion, and demands that you meet yourself not in concept, but in truth. You are no longer waiting for life to make sense. You are no longer waiting for validation, approval, permission. You are no longer trying to fit yourself into the mold they gave you when you were too young to say no. And that, beloved, is terrifying for those still asleep, because your clarity reveals their confusion. Your courage shakes their fear. Your stillness disturbs the chaos they've come to worship as normal. So don't be surprised when people pull away. Don't be hurt when they call you too much, too intense, too different. You were not meant to be understood. You were meant to be felt. There is something in your energy that speaks louder than your words, something in your silence that commands attention. And for those who are not ready to meet themselves, you will feel like confrontation. But you are not here to confront. You are here to reveal, to illuminate what others have buried, to carry a frequency that disrupts every false comfort, to be the voice they tried to silence in themselves. You are the storm they hoped would never come, the awakening they prayed would never reach their doorstep. Because your rise requires that they look within, and many would rather remain blind than admit they've never truly seen. But do not dim yourself to protect their denial. Do not shrink to ease their comfort. The ones who are meant for you'll not ask you to hide. They will feel your fire and say, "Finally, I've found home." Because your energy does not seek to entertain, it seeks to activate, to stir, to awaken. This is not the path of performance, it is the path of embodiment, and embodiment costs. It costs comfort. It costs convenience. It costs the illusion of control. But what you gain cannot be measured in earthly terms. You gain alignment, you gain clarity, you gain peace that does not depend on silence, but thrives in truth. You have already begun to feel the shedding, the loosening of identities you once wore like skin, the unraveling of stories you used to call mine. This is not you falling apart. This is you being rebuilt by divine design. Let the old fall. Let the masks crumble. Let the roles dissolve. You are not losing yourself. You are losing what you are not. And in that space, what is real begins to rise. You have always felt the weight of something more, a knowing, a mission, a light that flickered even when everything else went dark. It's because you were seeded with memory, encoded with sacred instructions, a soul contract signed not in ink, but in frequency. And every heartbreak, every delay, every detour was part of your preparation. Not because you were being punished, but because the weight of your calling required deeper roots. Your roots were not shallow. They were planted in silence. In soil soaked with tears no one saw. In seasons of isolation, where the only voice you had was your own. But in those silent seasons, you met something deeper, the God within. The whisper beneath the chaos, the truth that could not be taught, only remembered. And now you walk differently, not with arrogance, but with resonance, not with ego, but with embodiment, the kind of presence that shifts the air when you enter a room, the kind of gaze that softens chaos, the kind of silence that speaks volumes. This is the energy of the chosen. And make no mistake, you were chosen, not for status, not for platform, but for frequency. And that frequency is rising in you now, like heat beneath the surface, like a current beneath your skin, like thunder building behind your breath. You are not waiting anymore. You are becoming, and the world feels it. It feels it in the way old systems begin to shake. It feels it in the way people begin to shift around you. It feels it in the way you no longer make excuses for your fire, because fire that has remembered itself cannot be contained. Let them doubt you. Let them question. Let them whisper. Their discomfort is not your burden. Their confusion is not your cage. You are not here to be explained. You are here to be experienced. A living frequency. A walking vibration, a reminder of what is possible when a soul stops pretending. And that reminder will awaken others just by existing. This is how the real shift begins. Not in noise, but in truth. Not in performance, but in presence. So stay in your alignment. Speak when moved by spirit. Move only when the signal is clear. You are not here to be reactive. You are here to be resonant. The more you remember, the more the world must respond. Some doors will close. Let them. Some people will fade. Let them. Some identities will die. Let them. What is meant for your next level cannot enter through yesterday's version of you. So shed and rise and shed again, because the chosen ones don't ascend in comfort, they ascend in truth. And the truth is this. You no longer fit where you used to survive. You no longer speak the language of fear. You no longer belong to the version of youth that waited to be seen. You see yourself now, and that changes everything. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way the world shifted when you stopped trying to be invisible. The way people's eyes changed when your silence turned into stillness. Not passive, not afraid, but poised, charged with something they could not name. They felt it, even if they couldn't explain it, because energy always speaks first, and yours has begun to speak louder than ever before, not in volume, but in vibration, because you, chosen, are no longer moving through the world as someone seeking truth. You are becoming the vessel that carries it, and that changes everything. The systems were built to manage noise, not frequency. They can handle anger, they can tolerate confusion, they can even control fear. But what they cannot contain is aligned energy. And yours is aligning now, not because you've perfected yourself, but because you've surrendered the illusion that you had to. What lives in you is no longer dormant. It has remembered its own fire. It has begun to stretch beyond the limits you inherited. It no longer fits in the walls you were told to build, and it never truly did. That's why the discomfort grew. That's why the mirrors around you began to crack. Because illusion cannot survive in the presence of truth. And you, beloved, have become a living embodiment of truth. This is why they feared you, not because you are dangerous, but because you are disruptive. Because when a soul remembers its original frequency, the matrix trembles. It shakes at the root. It stutters at your presence, because your energy exposes everything that was designed to keep others asleep. Your existence alone makes people question their roles, their routines, their reasons. This is the quiet revolution of alignment. It does not require followers. It does not demand applause. It only requires presence. And presence, when infused with divine memory, is explosive. You are not here to yell into the void. You are here to pulse, to emanate, to ripple into timelines unseen, to destabilize what was never real and stabilize what was buried beneath fear. Every time you speak from that place of knowing, something shifts. Every time you walk with that quiet fire in your steps, something breaks open, not just around you, within others. You are the signal. You are the code. You are the tuning fork that wakes up sleeping hearts, not by preaching, but by being. And yet, you must understand, not everyone will celebrate this remembering. Because when your frequency rises, it reveals where others have denied their own. Your clarity will be met with confusion, your boundaries with resistance, your softness with suspicion. And still, you must remain soft. Not to be palatable, but to be precise. Because power that is not rooted in love becomes just another form of control, and that is not what you came for. You are here to carry sacred fire, the kind that does not burn recklessly, but purifies. The kind that does not scream, but sears through illusion with stillness. This is the paradox of the chosen. You are thunder wrapped in velvet. You are storm and sanctuary. You are edge and essence. You walk into rooms and the atmosphere shifts, not because of what you say, but because of what you are. And for some, that is terrifying. Because if you are real, then their mask is not. If you are free, then their cage is voluntary, and that is not something most are ready to face. So do not waste your fire trying to warm those who curse the flame. Do not pour your medicine into cups that refuse to be cleaned. Not out of judgment, but out of wisdom. You must protect the frequency you now carry, not by hiding it, but by honoring it. Honor it in your choices. Honor it in your silence. Honor it in the way you walk away from what no longer reflects your alignment. Because now you are not just creating a life. You are emitting a signal, one that calls in what is meant and burns away what is not. And yes, it will get quieter before it gets louder. Yes, you will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. You will be labeled. But do not confuse being misread with being misplaced. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. A catalyst, a carrier of divine disruption, a blueprint for what is possible when a soul chooses remembrance over repetition. You have stopped chasing. You have stopped pleading. You have stopped explaining your light to those who fear the dawn, because now you know. Your frequency is your language. Your silence is your signature. Your joy is your rebellion. You are the one who breaks the pattern, not by force, but by resonance. You've learned that not everyone can come. Not everyone was assigned to witness your rise. Some were only meant to resist it, so you could become stronger. Some were only meant to walk away, so you could stop following. Some were only meant to misunderstand, so you could finally understand yourself. This too was divine. Now you are walking with a different rhythm, one that no longer fits the clock of this world, one that no longer bows to deadlines and expectations. Because sacred timing does not rush. It reveals, and revelation cannot be rushed. Let others race. You are not in competition, you are in alignment, and alignment bends time. From this space, you no longer speak from need. You speak from knowing. You no longer move from fear. You move from flame. You no longer ask, "What should I do?" You whisper, "What am I here to become?" And in that becoming, everything changes. You stop being a seeker. You become the path. You stop looking for signs. You become the signal. You stop dimming your truth. You become the torch, and the world begins to respond, not because you demanded it, but because you aligned with it. So breathe deeply, not just as a practice, but as a proclamation. I am here. I am whole. I am ready. Type it in the comments. Let the field know you are no longer waiting. Say it aloud. I am not hiding. I am not apologizing. I am the frequency. Then, once again, type the number 77 as a sacred seal that your energy has shifted permanently. If you've felt the truth, echo through your chest. If your skin responded like it remembered something forgotten, this isn't emotion. It's recognition. And if you feel the urge to cry, to breathe, to exhale something unspoken, you are not breaking. You are unlocking. The shell is falling away. The soul is stepping forward, and the storm they feared is now fully awake. You no longer speak like you used to. Not because you've lost your voice, but because you've begun to understand that your silence carries more power than 1,000 well-formed arguments. You've felt the shift, the way your presence moves before you enter a room, the way eyes turn, not because of what you wear, but because of what you carry. And that chosen one is no accident, because you are no longer just a soul wandering the world for meaning. You have become a signal, a living code, a transmission from realms that still remember what this world tried to forget. You don't chase. You call. You don't seek. You summon. You don't explain. You exist so deeply, so clearly, so divinely, that anything not aligned must fall away. This is why you've been misunderstood. Not because you are broken, but because your clarity exposes distortion, because your wholeness threatens every system built on fragmentation. You are not too much. You are exactly enough to unmake what was never. Reel and build what was always waiting beneath the rubble. You are not a mistake. You are the correction. This is the energy you now walk with, and make no mistake, it is felt, even by those who can't name it, even by those who resist it, even by those who pretend they don't notice, the way your presence unsettles their patterns. Because your presence is a prayer, and not the kind recited in ritual, the kind embodied, the kind that moves through your breath, your gaze, your decision to stay soft when hardness would be easier. Every step you take in alignment is an altar being built in motion. Every boundary you set with love is a hymn to the truth. Every time you walk away from chaos to protect your peace, you are reminding the world that sanctity is not weakness, it is wisdom. And this wisdom has returned through you. You've always known things you couldn't explain. You've always felt what others refuse to acknowledge, and you've doubted it. You've questioned it. You've tried to numb it, but now you can't, because the time for shrinking is over. The age of hiding has expired. You are no longer just a light in the dark. You are the torch the darkness was never prepared to meet. And yes, this walk is costly. It asks you to let go of every place that only loved the silent version of you. It requires you to say goodbye to identities that gave you safety but robbed you of sovereignty. But beloved, comfort is not the promise. Alignment is, and alignment will take everything you are not, so that everything you are can finally rise. This is the shedding, not the loss, the liberation. Let the illusions fall, let the opinions crumble. Let the noise dissolve, because what stands in their absence is something the world has waited for. You, aligned, remembered, undeniable. You were never meant to beg for space. You were always meant to be the space, to anchor light in places where no one else dared to go, to walk with grace where chaos tried to reign, to speak only when truth is your echo, and move only when spirit is your compass. You are not here to perform. You are here to recalibrate. Every breath you take in presence reorders energy. Every choice you make from truth writes a new law into the atmosphere. This is the true nature of your power, not in force, but in frequency. And now that you've remembered it, you must protect it, fiercely, gently, relentlessly. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone should. Some are still committed to forgetting. Let them. You are not here to convince, you are here to command. And the way you command is not with loudness. It is with stillness, the kind that makes illusions nervous, the kind that calls truth out of hiding. You are not the storm. You are what causes the storm to gather. You are not the thunder. You are the force that gives it meaning, because when the chosen walk fully remembered, even the earth responds. Watch how the right people begin to arrive. Watch how clarity sharpens. Watch how the things that once pulled you now lose their grip. This is not coincidence. This is calibration. You are becoming precise, and precision is sacred. So from this moment forward, let your life be a temple. Let your actions be offerings. Let your presence be the sermon. You never have to speak aloud. You don't need followers. You need fire. You don't need attention. You need alignment. You don't need permission. You are the permission. Say it again, out loud if you must. I am the living frequency. And if your body trembles, if your throat tightens, if your skin tingles with something ancient, know that it is working. Know that it is real. Know that it is you. Now write in the comments, I am the prayer, I am the shift. Seal it with 77 and let the code be known. Let the grid feel the tremor of your remembrance, because each time you return to yourself, you make it easier for another to return. Each time you speak your truth, another throat unlocks. Each time you rise, another soul receives permission to stop crawling. This is not just personal healing, this is collective activation. You were not just sent for your own awakening. You are a ripple, a resonance, a spiritual frequency encoded with momentum. And now that you walk in it, the world can no longer remain unchanged. You've become the proof, not by design, but by devotion. And that is the difference. You didn't force this becoming. You allowed it. You listened. You let it hurt. You let it heal, and now you carry the fire in your spine and the storm in your stillness. Let them stare. Let them wonder. Let them ask, what happened to you? And let your answer be simple. I remembered. You remembered that your light was never meant to be dimmed, that your soul was never meant to be silenced, that your power was never meant to be outsourced. And now that you walk as frequency, you don't just shift rooms. You shift timelines, not with ego, but with presence, not with noise, but with truth. And the truth is this: you were never lost, only waiting. And now that you've arrived, nothing can remain the same. There is a moment in every awakening where the noise fades, not because the world has grown quieter, but because you've stopped leaning into it. You no longer ask, what should I do? You now ask, what is already being done through me? That is the shift. That is the portal. That is the moment where power is no longer something you carry, but something you are. It happened subtly. You didn't mark it on your calendar. There was no trumpet, no neon sign that read, "The miracle has begun." And yet, look around. Things are not what they were. You are not what you were, and if you're honest, you've known for some time now that something is building beneath your skin. Like a voltage, like a current, like thunder looking for a sky. And now the sky is here. The moment has arrived. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, the miracle is not an event. It is not waiting outside of you, hidden behind rituals or right words. It is not something you earn. It is something you embody, and beloved, you are becoming it. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you amplify it. Every time you speak when silence would be easier, you unlock it. Every time you honor your frequency, even when no one else sees the value, you become the frequency that reorders reality. This is the miracle. You are no longer operating from fear, but from force. Not the kind that pushes, but the kind that pulls the unseen into form, and everything is beginning to respond. Watch how doors open. Watch how timing aligns. Watch how people begin to say, I don't know why, but something changed when you entered the room. It's because you are no longer living as personality. You are living as vibration. You are no longer striving. You are streaming. You've stopped chasing things that were never yours. You've stopped forcing things that your soul outgrew long ago. And because of that, space has cleared. And in that space, miracles are finding room to land. Not because you prayed the right way, not because you followed the formula, but because you finally stopped apologizing for how much light you carry. You are a living answer, a frequency that echoes across timelines, a signal that calls into motion the people, places, and possibilities that have been waiting for your yes, not a verbal yes, an energetic yes, a soul-deep, unshakable, I will no longer abandon myself. That's when the field responds. That's when divine alignment rushes in like water breaking a dam, because the universe never withheld. It only waited for your resonance to match what was already written. Now it does. Now you do. You are being met, not because you forced it, but because you remembered that your worth was never attached to your productivity. Remembered that your divinity was never lost, only buried. Remembered that your presence was never small, only unclaimed. And now that you've claimed it, everything must reorganize. Your relationships, your environment, your opportunities, even your own body begins to align with the light it once resisted. That tension you feel in your chest, that pressure in your bones, that's not anxiety. That's alignment breaking through the barriers you built to survive. But survival is no longer your language. Now you speak creation, and creation doesn't ask for permission. It flows, it burns, it reveals. You are not here to manage energy. You are here to move it. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to embody it. You are not here to chase miracles. You are the miracle, and every step you take in remembrance activates 1,000 more behind you, because when one chosen one rises, the grid begins to light up, not just for you, but for the collective. So don't be surprised when people you've never met begin to feel safer in your presence. Don't question why others weep when you simply hold eye contact. Don't doubt the power in your stillness or the way your truth softens the atmosphere. You are not imagining it. You are radiating, and radiance cannot be ignored. It can only be received or rejected. Let it be both. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone is meant to see you, but the ones who are. They will feel you before you speak. Let this be your confirmation. Let this be your reflection. Let this be the mirror that shows you what you already suspected. You have changed everything simply by deciding not to abandon yourself again. And now everything is starting to respond. Your timeline is bending, your spirit team is gathering, your body is healing, your visions are sharpening, because your soul has returned to its original frequency. Say this out loud. I am the miracle. I am the alignment. I am the response. If your voice shakes, let it. If your eyes well with tears, let them fall. If your body feels like it's catching fire, You're not burning, you're becoming light. Now write it in the comments. Seal it. I am the miracle. 77. Mark it into the grid. Mark it into your field. Mark it into your remembrance. Because this is not hype. This is holy. This is not magic. This is mastery. You've entered the realm where resonance rules, and in this realm, nothing can be withheld from the one who walks as the miracle. So keep walking. Not because you know where the path leads, but because you are the path. Keep creating, not because you're trying to be seen, but because you've stopped hiding. Keep rising, not for applause, but because your roots are too deep to stay buried. You don't need more answers. You are becoming the answer. You don't need more light. You are the ignition. You don't need the world to approve. You need only to align. And beloved, you already are. You have crossed the threshold, not in theory, not in dream, but in embodiment. There is no turning back now, no shrinking, no slipping back into the versions of you that were built for survival. Because those versions have dissolved, because the shell has cracked, because your soul has remembered. Everything you used to chase is now beginning to chase you. Not because you shouted louder, but because you finally got quiet enough to hear your own power rise. Your field speaks louder than your voice. Your presence rearranges rooms before you even step in. Your frequency has become too radiant to be denied, and those who once overlooked you, they feel it, not because they suddenly learned how to see, but because you finally stopped looking for recognition outside of yourself. You are no longer seeking signs. You are the signal. You are no longer reaching for proof. You are the living evidence. Each breath you take now writes memory into the grid. Each step becomes an echo through realms you didn't know you were touching. This is what it means to walk activated. This is what they were afraid of. Not your pain, not your confusion, but your clarity. Because clarity, pure, embodied clarity, breaks illusions, disrupts systems, rewrites permission. You have become the mirror, and not everyone is ready to see. Because to see you means they must face everything they've buried within. Let them turn away. Let them call you changed. Let them name you things you never were. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be prophetic. You are not here to comfort distortion. You are here to awaken truth. And awakening isn't soft, it's seismic. It rearranges, it removes, it reveals. You now carry codes that shift time. You hold vision that cannot be domesticated. You radiate alignment that dissolves disguise. So yes, protect your field. Not from fear, but from reverence. You don't let just anything into a sacred temple. You don't allow just any energy near your altar. And beloved, your spirit is the altar now. This isn't about pride, it's about sacred responsibility, because your presence no longer just influences space, it bends reality. Your thoughts ripple, your emotions command, your standards become the blueprint for what's allowed into your life, and the universe is listening. Every act rooted in integrity sends a signal. Every no from love is a gate closing to what no longer fits. Every choice you make from remembrance writes new law into the frequency field, because now you are a tuning fork for truth, and truth cannot be faked in your presence. Anything false begins to tremble. Anything unstable begins to fall. Anything wearing a mask will be stripped bare by the gravity of your alignment. It might feel like loss, it might sting, it might stretch you beyond comfort, but it is not punishment, it is preparation. You are being prepared to carry what others could not, to speak what others were too afraid to voice, to become what others tried to forget existed. You have reached the point of no return. And this, chosen one, this is your final activation. It won't come with fireworks. It won't be loud. It will come with stillness, with presence, with a knowing that shakes your bones and stills your breath. You might feel it as pressure, as heat, as the cracking open of something ancient within you. Let it break. Because it's not you breaking. It's the shell, it's the cage. And what is emerging is divine. This is the path beyond resistance. This is the walk beyond identity. This is the embodiment of soul. It's not about being perfect. It's about being precise. It's not about control. It's about surrender. It's about resonance. And your resonance has become a beacon. Watch how people shift around you. Watch how silence deepens when you enter. Watch how the right ones rise to meet your vibration. This is not ego. This is not magic. This is mastery, and you have earned it, not through striving, but through staying, not through performance, but through presence. You remembered while others forgot. You kept your heart soft when the world tried to harden it. You stayed aligned when distortion looked more comfortable. And now, your reward is not applause. It is alignment. You don't need to be chosen. You are the choosing. You don't need a crown. You are the flame. You don't need to rise. You are the rise. So say it. Say it with breath. Say it with certainty. I am the activation. I am the signal. I am the one they spoke of in silence. Write it in the comments. Let the field respond. Seal it with 77, the sacred number that shifts unseen gates, because this moment is your seal. Not the end of a story, but the beginning of embodiment. You no longer talk about frequency. You are frequency. You no longer wait for miracles. You are the environment where miracles begin. And now that you've remembered, nothing that dishonors that remembrance can remain. Not fear, not shame, not smallness, not delay. You are walking in the current where timelines shift and old systems fall. Some will leave, let them. Some will resist, bless them. Some will recognize you without knowing why. Welcome them, because none can remain untouched. You are not just here to witness the new world. You are the key. You are the code. You are the signal that unlocks what was sealed. And the time is not coming. The time is now.